Good evening, I'm Eugene Chan. Welcome to Straight Talk. Our guest tonight is Melissa Pang, who is the president of the Law Society of Hong Kong. She was first elected in 2018 and it's now her third year in office. She's here tonight to talk about whether Hong Kong's rule of law is under challenge. Welcome, President Pang.
Good evening, Eugene.
Melissa, I understand in 2018, you became the first female president of the Law Society since 1907. And not only that, you have been successfully re-elected twice since then. Congratulations on the achievement.
Thank you.
Our SJ, Secretary of Justice, Teresa Chang, remarked 2 years ago that gender bias is a problem in Hong Kong's legal profession. But you have been elected 3 times, so does that show that things are improving?
I think for the legal profession, I would say 50% of them are women. And I think in the younger generation, for example, in the university, in law school, we have around 65% of the students are women. However, I would say in the partnership level, the percentage is lower. It's only around 30%. I can see there's still a lot we can do, a lot we can help our women lawyers.
Right, since you mentioned all those figures, I have similar figures as well.
Yes.
If we use the Hong Kong's bar list as a reference, 30% of our barristers and only 11% of our senior counsel are women, but about 60% of our junior barristers are female. And our SJ said that only 28%, like your 30%, end up in senior positions. I must say I'm a little surprised when I read that. It sounds like the legal profession is still very male-dominated. Is that true?
I think you can say they are male-dominated at the senior level. But I think there's a lot we can do. For example, we can give more support to women. And I think we also work together with the Equal Opportunity Commission, see how we can help.
You know, with the figures for the bar, we have just mentioned that. Is it similar to your association, to the solicitors?
I think it's around the same at the entrance level.
Okay.
So I think from your figures, for the bar, it's like 60% at the entrance level. For us, it's around 65%.
So very similar.
Yeah, but I think the important thing is to ensure we can retain the women talents.
You know, as a lady who has done well for your own work and for the profession, may I ask you, I won't use the word discrimination. Have you faced any challenges or difficulties over your career as a female lawyer until to date?
Actually, I would say no. I think I'm very fortunate. I don't really feel any like discrimination. But I think for other people, I think they do have some concern as to how they can balance work from family.
Like all professionals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So what will be the unique challenges of women that face in the legal profession? As you said, balance of work and work-life balance. Anything else you can think of?
I think we have just done a survey. I think we can say, like, for the family role, women are taking more of the carer role. So they spend more time looking after their family, especially in COVID time. I mean, that's understandable.
Yes. So as a person of success, I must say that again, what advice would you give to our aspiring young female lawyers?
I think there's a lot of role model, so they can talk to people, how they can balance work and their life and family. And I think the main thing is, like, we should instill a concept of unconscious bias. So make sure they're not being biased in certain ways. But there's a lot we can do. It's the whole paradigm. We have to get ourselves in the right paradigm so that our women lawyer can advance further.
I mean, I really want to agree with the point you have made just now, is to retain the talent. I mean, if half of the population of solicitors or barristers are females, if they retire early, then we will lose a lot of talents, don't we?
Yeah, true. But on the other hand, I think it's a matter of choice. A lot of women lawyers, they have other interests or they have other advanced they can do in other career path.
So Melissa, so we have talked about being a female professional. Yeah. And let's tell the viewers about the Law Society. What does Law Society do for lawyers and for the people of Hong Kong?
I think we are a regulatory body and also a professional bodies. Of course, as a regulator, we have to uphold a high standard of lawyers, of solicitors. And I think we have done a lot in terms of, like, training, and we have code of conduct, ensure they're of the highest standard. And as a membership organization, we work for the best interest of our profession. There's a lot we can do for example, we have to expand how their work they can do. For example, how can we expand into like China, expand into other areas. So we focus a lot in international relations, as well as our relations with our Chinese counterparts, because it's important for us to make the pie much bigger.
Yes. Maybe we'll turn to a question that has a lot of attention in the media. That is our topic tonight. Is Hong Kong's rule of law under challenge? I'm going to give you some background.
Yeah.
On one hand, we have the business advisory that was issued by the US Biden administration in July, claiming that the national security law has significantly reduced our autonomy, and as a result, business and rule of law risks that was formerly limited to mainland China are now going to be a concern in Hong Kong. But on the other hand, the State Council Information Office of our motherland said that 1 year after the introduction of the national security legislation, we have retained, if not enhanced, our global appeal as a financial hub because a peaceful business environment has been restored. Melissa, what is your take on that?
I think I'm still very confident the rule of law in Hong Kong is sound and alive. I'm positive on that. However, there's a lot of comments made by other people. But I think we must have confidence that our system is working well. For example, I think we have to look at more objective tests in assessing how good is our rule of law system.
Okay.
I'll take a test that's put forward by our former Chief Justice Geoffrey Ma. He gave us like 6 indicators to see how good is our system. Let me go through it one by one.
Okay.
The first one, we have to look at the transparency of our legal system.
Right.
You can see all our laws are all uploaded on web. People know what laws are and how they operate. And the second one is we have public access to the reasons of the judgment. It's also uploaded in the web. I mean, it's important, like when there's a case is heard, so you look at the result. You can search it and look at how the judgment said. And the third one is very important to look at the judgment and its reasoning, how the judge come to that conclusion, so that you can see the judge is actually adjudicate according to the law. And now I should go to the fourth point. The fourth point is about the system of independent appointment of judges.
Okay.
Hong Kong judges are of the highest caliber. They are independent and they are well regarded, well respected. When we look at the section in the basic law, they are appointed because of their qualification, judicial qualification.
Okay.
It's very important. So they are independent, they are well regarded. And now I should go to the fifth point about effective access to justice. I must say, Hong Kong, we have one of the best legal aid systems in the world. No one is deprived of their right to take a legal proceeding or to defend a legal proceedings. This is important because under the basic law, Article 25, everyone is equal before the law.
That's very important.
But you see, litigation is very expensive. But no one is deprived of their right to do so because they don't have the means. For example, they can't afford to pay for the legal fees. What can they do? They go to the legal aid department. They apply for a legal aid.
President, since you're on the term legal aid, I want to ask you right there before you go on the sixth point. Some of our legislators are concerned that the system is being abused and are calling for it to be reformed. What are your views on that, since you're on legal aid?
I would say legal aid has been in Hong Kong for over 50 years, and I think they are doing well. However, of course, there's always room for improvement. If there's any concern from the public, they can voice it out. I'm sure the government will look into it.
But do you think there is abuse to it?
I think there's concern regarding like distribution of cases.
Okay.
I think there's a limit, like a certain barrister or solicitor, they can only take on a certain number of cases. I think this one, they can look into it, make sure the distribution is fair.
All right, maybe we're going to your sixth point.
Yeah. Okay, the sixth point is about views towards the court of those who are in regular contact. So I would say Law Society, our solicitor is definitely in regular contact of the judicial system. We are very proud of it, and we think at the moment the system is robust. There's no problem about it.
Right. So thank you very much for telling us the 6 points why we have such a good legal system. Let's move on to other subjects. There are some concerns that have been raised, and one of them is a question of judiciary independence. At the beginning of this year, our Chief Justice, Andrew Cheung, said that an independent judiciary is essential to the rule of law in Hong Kong. Can you comment on that? And also, do you think our judiciary be able to maintain the independence, especially you just mentioned, there have been a lot of allegations from all over the world?
Judicial independence is certainly the core value of the rule of law. This is something I certainly agree with. On the other hand, there are allegations attacking judges. I think I have to stand up and say it loud, that our judges are independent, they are well respected, and they are of the highest integrity. If anyone is not happy with the result of the judgment of the case, they can have the avenue of appeal. But rather, some people would just say they don't like the judgment, they think the judge is biased, and some even go all the way to intimidate the judges. And I think that is something we must condemn.
So, President, one of my preparation on this is some of our magistrates and judges are being attacked for their sentences. Some say that their judgments against the activists are being too lenient. Some are saying that they are too heavy. And as you just mentioned, our judges receive threatening phone calls, and another one even got a bomb threat. What can we do to support them?
I think it's important for everyone to give their support. I must say that rule of law is not just for the judges or the lawyers. It's for everyone in the society. We have to make sure everyone got the proper understanding of the law. Judges are independent under basic law. They must exercise their judicial power independently, free from any interference. It's terrible if people are trying to give death threats to the judges.
This is, unheard of, yes, before.
This is shocking. And actually, I'm very stunned. In all the years when I practiced law, I never imagined this would happen to Hong Kong. I think this is something we must all stand up and say no.
Thank you, President, for delivering such a strong message. Let's move on to another area that I'm sure your profession will love to share with our viewers.
Yes.
As a legal service and dispute resolution hub, Hong Kong has always been a popular choice for international arbitration. Some say the national security law has affected a lot of our work. In this case, has it affected us at all?
I think there are certain uncertainties or concern about the application of the national security law, especially from overseas. But I think as lawyers, we must stand up, give a proper explanation of what the law is, so that people can have comfort in investing in Hong Kong.
Yes, President, thank you for giving us various answers to the various challenges to a rule of law. Maybe we'll talk about challenges to the law society now.
Okay.
You know, in Hong Kong, we've been through quite divisive time for the past 2 years. I'm sure your members will represent part of, it's like our society, have different views. As a president, especially as a first female president, how have you tackled this? It must be difficult, wasn't it?
I think the interesting part is we embrace diversity in Hong Kong. But as law society, we have 12,000 plus members.
Right.
It's a lot of people. Everyone have their different opinion, politically, socially, or economically. That is just natural. However, we have to try to look at what we have in common. We're all defender of the rule of law, supporter of the rule of law. As a professional body, this is something we have to do, because if we don't get the common ground, then that is a problem.
So, President, with that in mind, I understand that the Law Society's annual general meeting and elections are coming up next week, actually next Tuesday. And naturally, different candidates will have different inclinations.
Yes.
And it is quite unusual that this local AGM has come to the attention of our central government. The People's Daily have published their editorial on it. For the benefit of viewers, let me read the essence of it. the Law Society Council members have been urged to use the opportunity to maintain their professionalism, to play a constructive role, and make a difference in maintaining the overall stability of Hong Kong society by upholding the rule of law, to focus on legal matters and professionalism rather than degenerating into a politicized group. Very much like they actually mentioned the Bar Association facing a dead-end road. Also, one of the past chairs of the Hong Kong Bar Association, Winnie Tam, at a recent forum on opportunities and threats to the Hong Kong legal profession in early August, warned that the Law Society not to follow the same path as the Bar Association, which has their ties with the mainland cut off since a political election in 2018. Madam President, these are very strong messages. I'm sure you and your council members are aware of these issues, but how will you ensure all your members, especially the younger ones who are basically very busy and concentrating on the work, are aware of what is at stake here?
I think the first point I would like to make is maybe it's not appropriate for me to comment on what others said in the news. But I think we go back to basic.
Okay.
First, Law Society of Hong Kong, we are a professional body. We are a regulatory body. Of course, as officer of the court, we defend the rule of law. This is our job. This is our task. It's clearly stated in our M&A. So I think it's very important for us to do our job as a professional body. We are not a political party. Definitely, there's no plan to become a quasi-political party. If anyone is using our platform to advance political agenda, I don't think that's appropriate. Because everyone got different political views. If you use Law Society as a platform, there's no way we can advance our members' interests.
My earlier question was, how do you ensure all your members are aware of such strong messages?
I think we have said it from time to time, like in President messages to our members. We are a apolitical body. We have said it loud, and I think they would know.
And I'll use the same forum because some of your peers have spoken as well. Our past president of the Law Society, Lester Wang, said that overseas peers have always regarded Hong Kong as a superior because of our self-regulating Law Society and Bar Association. He remarked that once we lost that, it would be very difficult to get it back. Another past president, Mr. Wang Guai-Hun, has reiterated that self-regulation will always be preferable to regulation by the government as they would not have the relevant experience needed. He agreed that both societies should be apolitical, same view as yours.
Yes.
So everyone is speaking out on very similar issues. That means people are concerned.
Yes.
Personally, are you worried?
Personally, I think the message have to come out very clear. For the interest of Law Society as a whole, I think it's important for us to remain apolitical so that we can discharge our duty as a professional bodies. This is for the best interest of Law Society. It is also in the best interest of our over 12,000 members.
Right, I'm sure no professional organization will want to follow the path of the Professional Teachers Union who have lost the recognition of the government. Maybe we look at the future now. Assuming that the legal profession continues to have the endorsement of the central government and also the local authorities, I'm sure that's our wish. What does the future look like for the Hong Kong legal profession? You have 12,000 members, you have your barristers, and with the COVID happening right now, do we have enough work to support our profession?
Yes, we do have young members coming up to me asking, what are their futures? I think some might say this is the worst time. And also some might say this is the best time. All depends how you look at it. I think if we look at the 14th five-year plan, which is announced this year in March, there's a lot of opportunities. Of course, there are challenges. I would say the whole world is getting more competitive, but we have a special role to play, especially when you look at the 14th five-year plan. Hong Kong is aimed to be an international legal hub and also an international dispute resolution center. Also, we definitely an international finance center, transport and trade center. Also, we can see that we are a global offshore renminbi business center. And with all this initiative in place, there's a huge demand for good talents, good legal talents. I can see there's a lot of opportunities for our members, especially for our young members.
Right. President, just now you mentioned a couple of times during the interview about the integration with the mainland, especially to make a bigger pie, as you rightly mentioned earlier. I understand that exams that you have to do. How difficult are the exams?
I think the exam took place in end of July, and I think in Hong Kong, 650 participants, they sat for the exam, both from the barrister branch and also from the solicitor branch.
Right.
You can see people have strong interest. The exam, wow, you have to cover like virtually all subjects, all legal subjects. Actually, when you look at syllabus, the syllabus is a book. Right. It's really huge. And we formed study group to try to tackle all those difficult issues.
And in simplified Chinese, of course.
Yes, yes. I think we set for the exam, I think I would say it's okay.
Right, okay. President, I will give you, say, 15 seconds because we're near the end of the show. As the outgoing president, what will be your top advice to the young lawyers and law students?
I think I would say in times of difficulties, in times of uncertainties, you always go back to basic, which is why you decide to be a lawyer. I think it's important. All of us are supporter, defender of the rule of law. And rule of law is very much alive, but we need to be there to support it.
Thank you, Melissa, for joining us tonight to talk about Hong Kong's rule of law.